You've poured your heart into your services, into your offerings, and maybe you've even launched, maybe you've just softly, quietly invited people in, and then you have heard crickets. In this episode, I'm speaking directly to the entrepreneur who has done the strategy, who's written the sales pages, who's maybe even gotten some validation in her offer, but still feels like something is off. So this is not a messaging tweak today. This is a misalignment in the foundations of your business, and I'm going to explain why. Today, we are going to explore the emotional, energetic, and structural reasons why your offer might not be selling, and of course, what to do instead. Okay, I'm going to share the hidden bottlenecks that aren't in your launch plan, why your nervous system plays a bigger role than you actually think. I'm going to give you a personal example of the $37 membership that I just kept pushing and pushing for, even though it was not aligned for me in any way, shape, or form. And I'm also going to shed some light on how your business foundations might be the missing piece. So if you feel like you are ready to stop second guessing whether it's your pricing, whether it is your messaging, or what it actually is that is the missing piece, maybe it's the way you're delivering it. Let's stop second guessing this and come back to this information here. Okay, so this one is for you if you are ready to understand a new way of why your offer isn't selling. And one that's not shaming your strategy either, because there likely isn't anything wrong with your strategy. Something that a lot of people don't understand is that any strategy will work for anything. They're all proven. There is not really one that is better than another, but there will be one that is more aligned for you than another. Okay, you're going to understand today 3 types of misalignments, so energetic, emotional, and structural. And I'm going to give you some tangible tools so that you can actually reconnect with your offer from a deeper place. Now, just before we do dive in, if this work resonates with you today, I want to tell you that you can actually come and explore your foundations in your business from the inside out in my Foundations for Intuitive Entrepreneurs. This is it's my most sought after course. Okay, you have instant access to it, and essentially it is going to walk you through creating a values aligned, impact driven business model that starts with you and then ends with a beautiful aligned business. Okay, so maybe it's a refresh for you if you have grown and you know that you have grown and your business model hasn't caught up. If this lands today, that's going to be your next step. You can literally go and dive in straight away, instant access. It is there in the notes, so go and have a look. Now, if you are brand new and you are here, welcome. If you are listening to this episode, there is a really good chance that you have an offer that you already know is valuable. You know that maybe the service, maybe the course, maybe, the membership that you have, you know it will impact people. You know it's going to help them. You know how much value it carries. Maybe you've written sales pages and you've put it out to the world. Maybe you've even launched it. Or maybe you've come onto your stories a couple of times and just whispered about it and then heard absolute crickets. Okay, or maybe you've had some kind of interest, a few warm leads, but it didn't quite land. So now you're wondering, what's wrong with this? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Is the messaging broken? Is it the price? Do people just not get it? Let's just pause for a second and just reaffirm that yes, you should be doing this 100%, and your offer is not broken. Okay, something might be out of alignment. That's exactly what we're about to unpack. Let me remind you that when you came into your service of choice, okay, unless your service of choice is offer creation, in which case, yes, you are the expert in this space. But when you came into your service of choice, whether you are a virtual assistant, whether you are a life coach, whether you are a Facebook ads manager, when you came in, when you did your qualifications, when you got your hypnotherapy diploma, and they do teach you a little bit about business at the end of these qualifications. But I want you to remember that you came into this work with your zone of genius being the magic that you do in your sessions. Okay? What you've not come in is to be an expert in all of the other pieces that come along with business. Okay, so let's just take a moment to let go of the guilt, the shame, the fact that there is so much to learn, so much to take into consideration. That is why I'm here to guide you, okay, in this beautiful holistic strategy. It comes down to my energies of success. Remember, clear, align, leverage, all right? There are 3 pieces to a successful holistic business. Let's talk about now what I see happening all the time, especially for intuitive entrepreneurs, and that is the urge to immediately doubt themselves and fix the strategy. You've been there too. I've been there a million times. Okay, so that might look like changing the price, tweaking the bonuses, adding more deliverables, and then rewriting your captions over and over again. And you get it. You've been there, right? Most of the time though, the block isn't actually in your sales page. That block is in your body. You are showing up with emotional conflict in your field. Your nervous system is saying, hey, I don't feel safe in this offer. And when there are unconscious beliefs that are driving you in your offers, in your business, in your life, they are always going to override that strategy. Strategy can't override safety. And if you have a deep-seated belief that, say, for example, this offer, and I think I shared this in a past podcast, maybe the offer is more than you were used to charging. And you have this deep discomfort, this deep belief that if you charge more, you have to deliver more. That in the past, delivering more, showing up more, being accessible all the time has led you to a really icky burnout experience that you don't want to go back to. Or maybe you grew up as a kid watching your parents stressed and overworked and unwell, or whatever you experienced, fighting over money. And so you've got this internal conflict with being able to say charge for your offer. And that's only one example, but you can see how if you do not feel safe to actually hold the strategy, then the strategy isn't going to work. Okay, so the first step really is coming into your nervous system. So I'm going to share with you now 3 types of hidden bottlenecks that we see. These are misalignment, and again, they come down to the energies of success. So we have energetic bottlenecks, and this is where your offer is technically fine, but it no longer matches your energy. So a real example of that is that I used to run a $37 membership, and it was low ticket, it was scalable, it was valuable content. Again, I knew it was an amazing offer. I jammed way too much into it, thinking I had to prove my worth for $37 a month. But what it was actually really misaligned with, and I'm not saying that low ticket offers are wrong by any means, but for me, what it was misaligned with, and this is where we talk about alignment in the energies of success, it was completely misaligned with the depth of work that I am here to do. And that shows up all through my astrology chart. It shows up all through my human design. And so I was essentially pushing a square into a round hole. I was showing up just as much for that container as I do now for my high-level mastermind, in fact, with worse boundaries then. And my mastermind ladies, they're high level, so they respect my boundaries. It's good for them. They like it. So every time I promoted this offer, my body resisted, because it was never meant to hold the fullness of what I deliver. Okay? I also was delivering it from this emotional bottleneck, which I'll talk about in a moment. But what I did with that offer was I kept pushing and pushing because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought this is how you create monthly recurring revenue with a low ticket membership. This is how I'm going to create my financial freedom. This is how I'm going to have my global impact. This is how I'm going to reach all these people. This is how I'm going to stay accessible, because that's what I also believed I had to be. But it was in complete misalignment with who I am actually really deeply here to serve, because the ladies in my world, we go deep. I hold a really intimate space. We don't do fake intimacy in my world. We go deep. And I can't do that in a $37 low ticket offer. There is a very misaligned energetic exchange in terms of pricing versus output. So I just mentioned emotional bottlenecks. That is the second one that I want to bring your attention to. So this is I want to sell this, but I'm also kind of terrified of what it means if I do. So when I was selling my offer, my $37 offer, I was coming in also from a place of I felt like I had to prove myself all of the time. And so that offer that I designed, and yes, I'm a manifesting generator, maybe that has something to do with it, but that offer that I designed tried to pack everything that I possibly could into it. I tried to solve every problem that my ideal client had. Now, I have learned now to very beautifully package together the multidimensionalness of my manifesting generator energy. It is a gift for me to be able to bring together so many different modalities and then blend those modalities into a healing and business mentoring container, which is what I do now in my business. The difference to that, though, to what I was doing with this membership, was that I was trying to solve all of their problems, whereas my offers now have a beautiful ecosystem, each one serving a purpose for my ideal client's whole ecosystem. It is a customer journey through. That is something that I teach deeply in the Intuitive Foundations for Entrepreneurs, that course that I mentioned at the beginning of this program. So I was trying to prove my worth by adding more in. Now, you might have an emotional bottleneck that says something like, if I earn this much, I'll have to prove that I'm worth it. If I sell this many spots, I won't be able to hold them all. What if I raise my prices and people stop trusting me? And it's okay if you are feeling that way. Recognize it as communication from your nervous system. You are meeting a new edge. Just because you don't feel safe in something now doesn't mean that you can't introduce safety to it, that we can't rewire your internal world, that we can't teach your nervous system to expand in what it is holding. So if you have an emotional bottleneck, it's going to show up in things like delaying posting, delaying launch fatigue, shrinking back during moments of sales. We've talked about that in the last couple of weeks in the podcast as well. So just having a sit with where you might be having a bottleneck in your business. The third one is structural. So sometimes the offer simply just doesn't fit you anymore. Sometimes the offer was actually built from someone else's model, okay? Or based on urgency, scarcity, not desire, not impact. So maybe like me, you're trying to offer 17 things in the one container. You're promising outcomes that you no longer want to deliver as well, okay? I recently had a business mapping session. That's a 2-hour one-on-one where my client was charging more than she ever had before. And a little bit like me in the podcast episode I shared with you guys the other week, her subconscious started to panic. Okay? She started thinking, oh gosh, okay, if I'm charging this, then I'm going to have to deliver more. So she's adding more and more into it. And she hated that. She had created a beautiful, clear offer that actually allowed her to do less for that more. But she was trying to deliver something that, one, was completely misaligned in terms of her strengths as well. So she'd pieced it together based on what she thought she needed to do. And two, she had that nervous system misalignment. Okay? Her client was actually very fast-paced, very ready to move. Her client did not want all of the extra things that she thought she had to put in there. One, to keep herself feeling safe, and two, because that's what she saw other people doing. Therefore, that's what she needed to do, right? That was the logic behind it. So we did some deep hypnotherapy in our 2 hours. We had to play around with the deliverables so that the way that she was actually delivering her offer, the container that she was holding, the things that her clients were getting from her in return for her energetic exchange, actually aligned with who she is and how she best delivers. And then within 48 hours, she sold the offer. Okay, this is why alignment means more than tactics. So the final piece that I want to talk about, and we have had a little bit of a conversation about this recently, is that you can feel the difference if you really tune into it. You can feel the difference between congruence and conflict. You can feel it within yourself, and you can feel it with other coaches. You can feel it with anybody who is out selling something. When you are congruent, you don't need perfect words, okay? You are the offer. When you are not congruent, even your most beautifully branded content is going to land flat because people feel that. Okay, this is why safety precedes strategy all the time. So here is what to do. If your offer is not selling, okay, I invite you to number 1, slow down and ask, where am I out of alignment? Is it my energy? Is it my emotional safety? Is it the structure of the offer itself? Am I delivering it in alignment with my core values, with what I actually see for my life? As in, are you promising to be on all of the time when freedom is actually a core value, and you plan to spend more time on your health and fitness and with your family, but you are also promising to do 10 calls a week with someone? It's a bit of a misalignment. Are you promising a Facebook group to go and type in all of your answers when, like me, you communicate through your voice? So is the structure of the offer itself in alignment? You can let your body answer this, not just your brain, okay? So use movement, voice notes, journaling, and really reflect. And then ask yourself, what part of me, and I can put these reflections in the show notes, what part of me doesn't feel safe being seen in this? Is this offer still a match for the woman that I am becoming and the direction that I'm taking my life and my business? And if I didn't need to prove anything, what would this look like? Now, if you would like support to move through this, there are 2 ways that I can do that with you. Number 1, we can get in quick and dirty and get it done through a business mapping session. So this is where we will sit down together for 2 hours. We will trace your bottleneck from strategy through to your nervous system. We will find it. We will unblock it, whether that be through subconscious work, energetic work, or through strategic work. And then you will have a beautiful plan to move forward. But if you're noticing that the misalignment feels bigger, you have outgrown your business. You have outgrown the direction that you were going in. You've outgrown the clients that you were speaking to. And now you have these offers that are trying to solve everything for everyone, and there's no ecosystem for them to move through. Then maybe your foundation isn't quite right. And if that is the case, you can come and join me inside of Foundations for Intuitive Entrepreneurs. Again, you get instant access to that course. You can literally click below and be in it in the next couple of minutes. We will go deep dive into your values, into your business model, into your offer ecosystem. So you stop trying to solve everything for everyone in one offer. Because your business is not meant to be a copy-paste version of someone else's. Okay, it is meant to be a sacred expression of who you are. And I know that sometimes that can feel like the scariest thing. Okay, I completely understand that. It is brave to step out of the box and say, I'm doing things this way because this is most what's in alignment with me. Okay, but in order to do that, you actually need to start by remembering what that is and connecting back to what that is. Okay, so those are your 2 options to move forward. Now, thank you so much for being here. As always, if this spoke to you, send me a message on Instagram, share it with a friend who is ready to sell from truth, not pressure. And if your body says yes, I will see you inside of Foundations, or we can book a business mapping session that you can go ahead and find in the notes as well. All right, until next week, I will see you then. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to Resource with Jessica Reed. If today's episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with another soul-led entrepreneur who is also ready to rise. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected, because when you are deeply resourced, you become unstoppable. Until next time, my friend, stay resourced, stay radiant, and trust in the magic that is you.